Hello, welcome back to my channel. It has been, well, it feels like it's been forever since I filmed anything, but I literally put a video out a couple weeks ago. I'm talking about my May TBR and Mashed Potato May. It is now May 21st, and I have read some of those books, but I honestly haven't read as much as I've wanted to. I feel like I've just been in a slump, not only a reading slump, but just like a life slump. Feeling very stagnant, and I went through a period where I should like purge things out of my apartment and try and just like generate some energy and comfort and things like that. And so I sold my old camera, partly because I wasn't very happy with it, and partly just because I knew it was time to change over to something else. So this is the first video on that, testing that out, so bear with me as we deal with settings and things like that. But I just wanted to go over some of the things that I've been reading and loving since I last talked to you. I don't even remember the last time I told you guys about a book I loved, so we're just gonna scroll back through the good old Goodreads here. You know what I love to do when I'm having a slumpy time is read dark romance, because my life is never going to be that chaotic. You know what I mean? Like, things could get bad, but not so bad that I fall in love with a boxer who also moonlights for the mafia sometimes and almost gets me, you know. So, I read Distance by Luna Mason. Had an okay time with that. I think I told you all about this. And Chaos. Or maybe that was on TikTok, because I have been posting over there kind of regularly. It's been kind of nice to just short form, look at my phone for a sec, talk to you about a book. Yeah, I read Chaos by Luna Mason, which is the start of the Beneath the Secret series, brand new series she started in April. Not bad for a first book. It was definitely an improvement over Distance. I think it's because it uses some of the foundation and like characters from the Beneath the Mask series. They're just in Vegas now instead of, I think they were in New York before. Not a bad time. Not a bad time. I then read To Woo and To Wed by Martha Waters, which is the last book in the Regency Vows series, and it's about Sophie and West, which if you've read that series, you know you spent the whole series going, what's going on with those two? Why aren't they together? And we finally got that story, and it was a lot of flashbacks to them, because they were together for a little bit, and then you find out why they weren't together anymore, and then it's like them getting together. But I kind of enjoyed that, but I do wish there was a little bit more in the present moment romance. And I think I struggled with it because I was listening to the audiobook, which is how I prefer historical romances, but I think with that one, it might have been more helpful for me to read it physically so that I could have seen a physical denotation of the past versus the present, because there were times where I thought I was in the present, and then it took a good, 5-10% for me to realize, oh, we are talking about a flashback here. And so it was a little bit of a struggle for me then. And then I went through a period of just mood reading. I read The Nest by Cynthia Sweeney. This was a really popular book back in 2016, 2017, and it kind of had mixed reviews. I think finding it after its hype was really helpful for me. I think if I had read this during its hype, it would not have lived up to it, and I probably would have been like a 2 or 3 star. But because I was so removed from it, I really enjoyed it. It's very much a rich people problems thing. Their father passes away, and in his will leaves them the nest. It's meant to be a small nest egg. It's not meant to be life-changing money, but it's meant to just pad things along for his children, because he worked very, very hard through their childhood and wanted to leave them something. Well, after he passed, because he had put in a clause that none of the money would go to any of the kids until the youngest child was like of a certain age. I think she's supposed to be like 40 or something. Because so much time had passed between him passing and that date coming along, there was a man put in charge of the finances. I think he was like the family lawyer or something. He did very well in managing that money. So what was a little bit of money became a lot of bit of money, and it was right before the stock market crash of 2008, and he pulled the money out and then like just set it aside at that point. So there's all this money. The oldest sibling is kind of a fuck up, and he fucks up royally like 18 months before the due date, if you will, of the nest comes along, and the mom uses that money to fix his fuck up. So now his siblings, who have been counting on this money and like counting down the days until the youngest sibling's birthday, are in an uproar and are like, when are you going to pay us back? Because we all needed that money. And through that, you figure out why each of them needs the money, and you learn about like their own nuclear families and different things they have going on. It is highly dramatic. It is very first world problems, but it is a great time. The audiobook narration was great. I would definitely recommend it. Then I read a baseball romance debut. It was called First Base by Allie Wiegand. I gave it a 3.5 stars. Said it was a solid debut effort here in my review. I did really struggle with the pacing of the book. Specifically around the couple getting to know each other. It just felt like we were spending so much time with Maggie dealing with her own bullshit. And I don't think that's a bad thing in romance books. But I feel like that works a lot better when the FMC and MMC know each other already. And so there isn't a ton of work that needs to be done in them getting together and us believing in their relationship and in their chemistry. And I felt like there was a lot of work that needed to be done there, and it was just very hard to feel that way at first. I had a generally good time with it though. I do like that the way that they were building their relationship was on meaningful conversation. It wasn't just sex. They were each working through some kind of traumatic things, and it was nice to have those traumatic things that they were working through be what brought them together. I will say to check the content warnings for this. There's a couple of things in there, but I enjoyed it. I also really loved Olivia, who was Maggie's best friend. There were a few moments where she totally calls Maggie out on her bullshit, and it was just great to see. Always love when that happens. 10 out of 10 recommend. So I'm hoping that the next book is about Olivia. We'll see. And I stayed on my baseball romance shit, and I read Calling It Safe by Lo Everett. She sent me an ARC for this. I signed up for an ARC review, and I got it, and it was great. It was so great. I loved Dean and Mia. This was like a brother's best friend forced proximity situation, but it's the best kind of brother's best friend in that her brother did not give a single solitary fuck that they were together. Actually, I take that back. The only moment he had one of those like big brother moments was when something happened and he tells the mailman character like, stop fucking up. My sister's so worth it. Stop fucking up. There was never a, you need to stay away from her. That's my sister. Rah, rah, rah. He very much had the forethought to go like, no, she's a grown-ass woman. She can do whatever she wants. He can do whatever he wants. I don't care as long as they're having a good time together and they're being respectful of each other, and more importantly, he's being respectful of her. And I just loved that. That was great. There was plenty of steamy scenes. There were plenty of great moments of them truly getting to know one another and understanding how each of them struggled and what their strengths were. And I just appreciated the pacing of this story the whole time. It felt like it was where it was supposed to be. And it does have a third act conflict, but it made so much sense in the context of the story. There was a little bit of, not miscommunication, lack of communication. In a certain moment that was a little frustrating to me, but overall, handled so well. I definitely recommend that series. It's the Denver Bandit series by Lo Everett. And after I read that, I actually went back and read the first book because I hadn't read the first book yet. I had come in at book 2, not realizing it was book 2. Great time. Great time. This Could Be Us by Queen Kennedy Ryan. This book, it only took me 2 days to read it, but I swear it felt like a week. Not in a bad way, though. It was just, every time I would pick up the audiobook to go through and listen, I just felt like I needed to be slow and really take my time, because this was not really romance first. It was about the female main character's life. Kennedy Ryan does such a good job of building such a rich environment that you feel like you've known these people and like their life situation for a while. So it follows Soledad Charles, who in the beginning of the book we find out her husband has been laundering money from his company, and the male main character is the one who found out because he is a forensic accountant who was hired on at the company in general just to be, I think, VP of finance, but he also did that. And so he gets her husband arrested, and that man goes to federal prison. That is not a spoiler. That is literally, like, I think on the synopsis of the book, and it's literally like in the first 10 pages. And we get to spend this book seeing Soledad, like, figure out what does her life look like, because her and her husband's relationship was not great leading up to this happening. Previously, it had been great, but I want to say for the last, like, 6 months to a year, I can't remember their full timeline, it was not in a good place, and she honestly had kept asking him for things, and he just wasn't providing. And so to see her come back to herself throughout the story was phenomenal. Judah Cross was an excellent male main character. Could not recommend him enough. I loved everything about him. He's neurodivergent, and that plays a part, but not in a way I think that you would think. I love the way she handled that. Absolutely, she handled that. Yeah, I think that's all I have. I don't know. I've read so much, but not everything has been great. But those are the highlights. Those are the highlights. So thank you for letting me come back to this corner of the internet. I will have more videos soon. Hopefully a vlog soon. I feel like I haven't done one of those in a while. It would be kind of nice to get back in the swing of things. And it's summer, which means it's time for me to go outside a little bit and live a life. So maybe you'll see something other than the four walls of this apartment. Until next time.